the way I look at it, starting from front to back, depending on the different nods mounts that you have on there, they kind of limit whether you can bring the nods closer to your face or not, and the number of adjustments that you can make as well. Kind of picking up this one though, has a breakaway mount. Comes out, but with the breakaway mount, to get that rattle out, you gotta put a little piece of tape right there. When breakaways came out, they were the shit, but I had no idea how to use one.
Yeah, like, breakaway sounds good in theory until it snaps off. Slap these nods on there, and you start to apply band tension to bringing the nods closer to your eye line. It's great. And on breakaway, when that thing gives free, those nods smack you in the eyes and in the bridge of the nose, and they fillet you open. They do, instantly. So it's like you have to know what all these little buttons do, because if you don't, and you rebound hard and they snap off, they're coming right back in your eye if they're properly retained. Like, it will just come off.
That's a problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
So specifically with that mount though, I mean, you know, adjustments on it, kind of going over it a while ago, this top mount allows you to raise and lower. Kind of your head sits a little bit deeper in the helmet, you can raise them up, or kind of top hat, sit a little bit, but basically lock it in wherever it fits. These little micro adjustments right here, this little knob allows those nods to kind of tilt up and down, get a kind of correct view on whatever kind of nods and night vision you're running. But one limiting factor with this, not only do I not like the breakaway, because people are like, well, you need a breakaway, and it's like, I don't want my nods to break away. If I really have to shit can my helmet, I'm just going to unbuckle it. But biggest negative thing on this is I can't get my nods close enough to my eye and the eye relief.
And it's because it has mechanical offset built in. This nods mount sticks out so far from this helmet already. It's not a bad thing. For dudes who wear night vision more than most people will ever do, this little thing becomes an issue. Like, you want to have the ability to suck them deep in your eye sockets you want to, or as far out as you want, so it limits the options you have. So what might not be an issue for me because of my helmet lining will be an issue for Cole because of his lack of padding.
Micro adjustments, just like, you know, you get a prescription for glasses or something, you got to have it fit the right way. A few kind of other things that have progressed throughout the years are nod retention. These things obviously bungee, but they run out. You know, connect them right here to this front bolt with your helmet system or your rail system. But over time they stretch out. Usually we have to tie a knot in them. These are kind of some old school ones as well. And yeah, so people may ask like why nod retention, or they'll put this bungee, you know, somewhere up here or in between the nods, so it'll stop the little rattling. That's great, but it's not holding onto your nods. So I mean, big goal always too is to keep your helmet streamlined, not having, my personal take is not having a bunch of stuff on it. That's why I took the rails off. But two, even with the bungee, whatever retention strap you like, we were just talking about it. Another weak fail point is the dovetail, whatever kind of mounting system. But these dovetails, you fall hard enough, have a hard enough opening, crash, whatever, this dovetail will break off, and it's like you have that bungee that's holding it tight. It's not tied into these little loops. Those nods will just go off, flying off, and they'll be gone. So when your life depends on it, it's good to have these attached even if they're dangling.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and lost.
Dude, I've seen dudes do it where this dovetail breaks off, stays inside the mount, they lose their nods, but they're connected to the bungee, smacked in their face, and they literally re-screw it, and somehow they re-threaded it.
Moving backwards, you know, I've taken the rails off. My personal take, I like keeping it streamlined and ounces equal pounds, especially when you're up high in the mountains. But kind of keeping it streamlined, especially you have, you know, a battery pack or kind of some of the newer nods have some AI or whatever other technology, but you're able to keep this wire streamlined, because if it's just hanging out dangling, it's another thing that's just going to get caught. So being able to kind of tuck it away efficiently, so not only does the cable not get cut, break, this isn't all fucked up. Because a few reasons, AI or extra battery pack, because you have your nods on that long, 8-10 hours that you're using them, be able to plug in, but keeping it nice and streamlined and tight so it doesn't stick out. It's a huge deal. But kind of moving back to another thing we covered recently is counterweights. I still have some old school Home Depot, Lowe's, hardware, lead weights that not only have I put Velcro on, but the Velcro will come off and you need to Gorilla Glue it. I can't say enough for this. It'll help your neck, it'll help the feel, it'll help the fit. But again, kind of having it tucked back so it's slim so nothing can grab it, nothing sticking out, rounded edges, not hard edges. There's a few different strobes, old school. I think we've got something up there. Kind of what's you've seen some companies kind of do is, these modified battery packs. Keep evolving with, whatever kind of comm setup, O2 setup. I still have the old school O2 setup. That was what I prefer, especially around comms. That's another thing. I run comms separately, just because when you take your helmet off, you can still use comms. That's my big thing. But since companies like Faro and other companies have these battery packs, always evolving. Actually stole some of their end caps that go on these rear bolts and kind of messing around with some more nods retention as well. Basically hook up some bungee to here and it hooks right up into your helmet and nods. It keeps it streamlined. Big thing with this mount I love, it's not breakaway. Super simple, light, and adjustments, you're not losing anything. You look at the old school mounts, you gotta have a tool and an Allen wrench to tighten these.
Yep.
And they definitely come loose. It's a maintenance thing.
It'll come loose at the most inopportune time. The profile of that to that, like how close that is to the helmet, that gives you so much more ability to slide those nods in and really tuck them into your eyes. And for me, nods are never going to be perfect, but with some time and some effort, a little bit of energy, you can get it pretty damn close, man.
Even when you have your night vision up, it kind of keeps them, you can suck them back up to your helmet. Yeah. This helmet's even more slick. I just have counterweight, so again, I know what I'm giving up with no battery pack, but have more counterweights and fresh battery. But how many times have your batteries died and you got to be walking at night and change your battery and be familiar with operating at night? It's a big thing. Kind of going to helmet pad setup. Pretty much, both pads and setups are pretty similar to an extent. On this helmet, specifically, I cut off this plastic piece right here where it connects back on Velcro, just because it felt more comfortable, and most likely I'll still cut this one as well. But I actually had a recent question. Guys were asking about getting rid of this and where to cut it, where not to. Got to play around with it, but kind of cutting it right around here, and then scrolling this all the way out and cutting that. But that's kind of a personal preference and what headsets and what you guys like wearing. I think helmets are very much like baseball gloves. You got to fit it to yourself.
Yeah.
Like all of your gear. We luckily had the freedom to do that.
Yeah, you can just see Cole's got this retention system on the side. I don't like it. That's the first thing I do is I just take a pair of scissors and I chop it off and I remove it. It still functions as normal, but I don't have anything pressing on the side of my head. Even my old school one from active time, there's nothing in there. It sits on there, but I'm used to running Peltor, so I want it to sit on there, fit snug, but I can't have it pressing on me because you don't know if you're going to wear that helmet for the next 8 hours. So it's you'll get a Peltor migraine so fast. And it can totally be avoided with 10 minutes and a little bit of time playing with your kit and getting the helmet pad adjusted right. I'm big with Cole on the counterweight, but I had an old school dude show me a trick with a tourniquet on the back, kind of double down. All the medics will kind of go up in arms, but you want to be able to reach it with both hands. So that's the thing they kept harping on. I can reach it with both hands. My helmet's not going to leave my body, hopefully. I still ran one of my kit, but kind of a functional approach.
People will ask about the helmet lights. There's been a lot of variants. There's been the mic, there's a little push to talk mic lights. Rail mounted. I still roll an old school Petzl kind of around my neck, and that's what I like. I put it on my chin and I'm able to use it.
S&S has got this badass swivel mount now. And now with just how good lights are, you can go to white, you can shut it all the way off, you can go to IR. don't get in this big conversation about white lights and pressure pads. Like, it's no different than on your helmet. That's why I like these lights. The chance of you inadvertently turning this thing on is about slim to none. It's a positive on-off. This thing swivels, gets it all out of the way. It's nice, man. It's clean. I've been running that thing for a while. But yeah, I mean, some kind of light source other than your gun. Just it's very awkward to try to illuminate something that your buddy's searching on when you're actually pointing a gun there. So,
my headset sits kind of flush right here. That's why I've removed all the pads, so it sits nice. I mean, how many times have you walked around the hot spots? I mean, it's like breaking a new pair of shoes. It's brutal.
Just grinding on one side of your head.
Yeah.
It's like you have one pad that's a 1/4 inch thicker than the other one. You realize it about 20 minutes in. Wow. I didn't realize it was going to suck that bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and a helmet setup to me it's always evolving. Because some dude is going to come out with some badass new system and you have to try it. Because this thing is going to be uncomfortable at some point. I don't care how nice you make it, after 8 hours wearing it, you want to throw it off a building. So if you put in the time now and make this thing fit as comfortable as you can with comms and everything on it, with nods, just leave your nods on it. It'll pay off in the long run, especially for the end users that actually depend on this equipment. It'll never be good enough, so like spend the time right now. Go buy your own pads, get your own chims. Piecemeal, like this thing should not be stock out of the box. Like you have to put hands on every inch of this thing to make sure it's perfect for you.
So talking about headsets kind of fitting in with your helmets, double push to talk, single push to talk, just depends on what your role and job is, and even what side the mic is on. So right side, left side, especially shooters, you don't realize the mic's in the way. It's on the left side if you're a left-handed shooter. It's on the right-hand side, right-handed way. So I always try to do opposite one. That's my last one, just right side. But when I put it on, how it mounted up was a big thing with getting streamlined in mind, keeping it right here. But I would have this mic under here, and then I would have this cable go right through here. Because what I found,
there you go.
So it fit good.
Like,
because if I didn't put it underneath of it, it wouldn't fit right. So having that come around, get in there.
Yeah, it's like trying to find this little happy helmet. It's not if it's crooked, like.
Yeah. It's like standing in front of the mirror. It's like, my helmet okay?
Yeah. I mean, like, you have to do it.
If you don't put that mic underneath this strap, it's like it just buries it.
Step through on a real target, like that thing gets clipped right before you go. It's like you're gonna wear that thing for 8 hours. Like I have to have it loose. Like we're constantly popping pelletors, let your ears breathe. Like, I mean, you'll crack those things, don't be sweating inside them. Okay. Like it's hot as hell. So you're constantly feathering them out. I think that's why a lot of guys started going to the helmet mounted ones. You could pop them, but it's so loud on target. If you don't pop those things in, you can hear everything. Yeah. 3 rooms down, you can hear people talking on comm. So you have to slap.